Does cryptocurrency actually have any utility, and what is that utility? A lot of people believe that cryptocurrency is just magic internet money with no utility that can't do anything. However, in today's video, I'm going to make the case that cryptocurrency actually has more utility than any other industry in the entire world, and I'm going to go through both the present use cases of cryptocurrencies and the future use cases of cryptocurrencies, which I do believe will materialize over the years. Of course, if you enjoy the video, remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, remember, nothing in this video is financial or investment advice. So let's initiate with a broad overview of what today's video is going to be about. Today's video is not going to be about cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, which are mainly stores of value. Instead, it's going to be about decentralized finance, which has a ton of utility, and I do believe DeFi will eventually flip Bitcoin, and most of the cryptocurrencies out there represent DeFi. These are cryptocurrencies like Ethereum. Now, these blockchains have a myriad of use cases, and I will make the case that eventually everything will be able to be done on the blockchain. The main thing about blockchain and cryptocurrencies is that they are entirely decentralized. This means they can perform every task traditional finance, traditional firms, and more can perform without the use of a middleman. This improves costs, efficiencies, transactions, verification, and prevents tyranny. You're in control of your money, someone else is not in control of your money, and with that, a lot more things can actually be done a lot more efficiently on DeFi when you don't have the overhead costs of middlemen and the inefficiencies of middlemen that can come with it. There are evolutions of the web and internet, and cryptocurrencies tend to be called the third generation or the third version of the web, and I do believe this is the case, and cryptocurrencies are a big improvement on what the current internet is today. To understand decentralized finance, you need to understand smart contracts. Smart contracts basically allow individuals to transfer money with conditions attached. Only once those conditions have been met will the money change hands. So if this happens, then the money will change hands. What this means is there doesn't need to be a middleman in the process. This reduces all of the inefficiencies with the middleman, and all you need to do is trust the blockchain and trust the code. You don't need to trust the other party. The blockchain will do this for you, and there will be no need for a middleman. This allows all of the decentralized applications on smart contracts to be built. This could even be a replacement or a complement to all legal contracts, and big businesses like Mark Cuban's businesses are already using these smart contracts, and they see the utility and future in these. For example, one business may contract another to perform tasks such as storing data, selling items, or really completing any tasks, and once someone has done this, the money will change hands. You don't need somebody mediating this. So smart contracts do currently work, however their limits are technically endless. Any industry with an intermediary could be disrupted. Currently, smart contracts are used for purchasing real estate. The deed for the house will only be transferred once you have given them the money. You don't need to pay real estate companies for this, and you can just do this directly peer-to-peer without trusting the other person, which is very efficient. However, you could disrupt any industry with an intermediary. Amazon could be disrupted. You could make your own marketplace for goods and services, where once you deliver the good or the service, then the money will be transacted. Uber could even be disrupted, where you could just tell someone to take you to a location, and once they take you to that location in a car, then the money will be paid to them. A politician could establish a smart contract to ensure he holds true to his promises. A smart contract could be established to ensure an individual paints your house blue, and the opportunities really are endless. Any industry with an intermediary can be disrupted by cryptocurrency, and this makes it a lot more efficient. It reduces all of the overhead costs, and it's a massive use case for cryptocurrencies right now that can be done in a completely decentralized way. Another big use of cryptocurrencies that's made possible by smart contracts is verification. Anything can be bought and stored on the blockchain, and your verification can be recorded on the blockchain, such as Ethereum. Many people already know of NFTs, which have recently came to popularity, where you can buy and sell digital art pieces. However, this only scratches the surface, and this doesn't tend to resonate with a lot of people. In fact, Not only NFTs can be stored on the blockchain, but anything can be stored on the blockchain. Medical records can be stored on the blockchain, education records could be stored on the blockchain, permits could be stored on the blockchain. In fact, ownership of completely anything can be stored digitally on the blockchain. Many medical companies and hospitals have said it'd actually be very useful for medical records to be stored and verified by the blockchain. For example, Cardano has just had a deal with Ethiopia. This means all of the students in Ethiopia, about 5 million students, get to verify and store all of their education records on the blockchain. As a result of this, all of the employers who are employing these students can have a look at what their education records are, and they can actually see what they have done, verified properly by the blockchain. Currently, there's a huge problem with fraud in all of these countries, and these people can't actually verify this sort of stuff. Another big use case is Elgarand's deal with SIAE, and this is a copywriting company in Italy which actually used the blockchain to store and verify all of the copyrights. Moreover, blockchains could even be used for supply chain verification. VeChain is currently a big blockchain that is used to verify anything in the supply chain. This is used by the biggest freight forwarder in the entire world, and it's used by the Chinese government. Now, the reason they use VeChain is to verify the products in the supply chain are correct. For example, it verifies all the food in the supply chain is correct and is not out of date, and this could prevent food poisonings and all of that sort of stuff, which the Chinese government do want to prevent. So, another big use case for the blockchain is you can actually build anything off the blockchain. Currently, everyone builds off centralized entities like Facebook, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, etc. And they need to build off these big firms in order to store web data and run application. All internet companies need to use a highly centralized internet to build off. However, when you're building off these big centralized firms, this can be subject to inefficiencies and changing rules. For example, Zynga is a company that was built off Facebook and it achieved a value of $10 billion. However, Facebook changed the rules and Zynga lost 85% of its value overnight. This cannot happen on the blockchain. Anyone can actually build off the blockchain as a decentralized service, store data, and build their companies on top of it. The blockchain will not change rules, and the blockchain will not do anything unpredictable. It's a purely immutable code that is controlled by nobody. So, any firm and any internet services can be done on the blockchain. In fact, the blockchain can decentralize the entire internet. The graph already directly replaces Google, and any firm can actually build off a decentralized blockchain and a decentralized protocol, which should be very, very big. And of course, they can use smart contracts and more. Anything that can be done on centralized finance can also be done on cryptocurrency. Borrowing and lending is currently available on Decentralized Finance, with a platform called Aave offering this, and it has $20 billion being lent and loaned off the platform. You can have any savings accounts on Decentralized Finance, and insurance is even available on Decentralized Finance. The way insurance works is users will pool their assets together, and then when a disaster happens for one of them, they will get paid out. This could be done through smart contracts without a middleman on DeFi, and the company won't be taking any profits. Derivatives markets are available on Decentralized Finance. Predictions markets are also available, and exchanges are available on Decentralized Finance. These total to about $500 trillion in the centralized finance world, and I do think DeFi can take a big chunk out of that. Currently, only the top 1% of people also have access to all of this centralized finance, options trading, derivatives trading. However, on DeFi, anyone can easily access it in a permissionless and trustless manner. So anything can happen on DeFi, except the bank doesn't control your money, you control your own money. We'll move on with finances, and basically all forms of money and debt instruments can be launched off cryptocurrency. The European Investment Bank launched $100 million of government bonds off the Ethereum network. They said they did this to cut intermediary costs and increase security. So they launched their own bonds and their own government debt instruments off Ethereum, so it's all verifiable on the blockchain. Everyone can see it, it's completely secure, and the costs are a lot cheaper. Moreover, governments can actually build their own currencies off cryptocurrency. The Marshall Islands and the Ukraine are currently creating centralized digital currencies, and roughly 80% of banks are considering this. So what you can do is you can make your own cryptocurrency that's worth exactly $1 at all times, and you can launch this off Ethereum or any other cryptocurrencies that you choose to do. Eventually, I think as the world gets more and more digital, governments will want to make their own cryptocurrencies, and they're already showing signs of doing this, with the Ukraine and the Marshall Islands taking the first steps to doing this. Even Chinese government officials have flagged that they are potentially going to do this in the end. So this is all done in a publicly verifiable, cheap and efficient way. Another big use case that really hasn't been unlocked, and this is more of a future use case right now, is tokenization of real-world assets. It is likely that real-world assets can be tokenized and then digitally owned. Individuals could have part ownership of certain assets that they cannot afford in real life. You could have part ownership over real estate, part ownership of basically anything that can be digitally verifiable on the blockchain, which could be very efficient for a lot of different markets all around the world. Blockchain voting can also be done of cryptocurrencies, and this is currently used, however it's not used on a very large scale. So, blockchain voting could allow users to vote on basically anything they wanted to. They could even vote on things like elections, which would take away a lot of the fear and doubt about elections. Charles Hoskinson even recommended this to Donald Trump. The blockchain would verify all votes, and it would ensure only valid members can vote, and this would dispel a lot of ambiguity about voting currently. Decentralized autonomous organizations also exist on the blockchain. Now, this is a very futuristic use case, and these do exist, however they haven't unlocked what they can do. These are basically organizations where the rules are publicly encoded in a computer program. This establishes an organization that can fully function by itself without management. The way these organizations would be managed is token holders could vote on governance. You could make this so the people with the most money and the most tokens get the most vote, or you could give everyone an equal vote depending on what the rules are set out as. A lot of people are saying that decentralized autonomous organizations will actually be competing with real-world organizations that have a management team, and these will be highly competitive and highly efficient. The government could even be a decentralized autonomous organization where users could vote on proposals, which could be anyone all around the country that could just vote on what has to be done. So these do have a lot of potential. However, I think their potential will only truly be unlocked many, many years into the future. So, let's conclude what we found today. The overall opportunity for cryptocurrency is absolutely massive. Cryptocurrency has the potential to decentralize the entirety of finance, anything from the codes of traditional banks to entire derivatives markets, over-the-counter markets, any borrowing markets, any lending and issuing of money, and it can basically do everything centralized finance can do in a totally decentralized way, a trustless way, and a permissionless way. Moreover, cryptocurrencies can completely take over the internet. Anything can be built off cryptocurrencies without the need for middlemen, and anything can really be done without these big centralized parties overarching, using everything, taking up the fees. Of course, it's the business's choice where they want to build off. If they want to build off a way more efficient place where they don't have to be subject to changing rules, they will choose cryptocurrency eventually. That's how free markets work. So, I do believe cryptocurrencies have the power to financially free all countries, and I do believe cryptos have a lot going for them. If I look at the biggest markets in the world right now, real estate is worth $250 trillion, derivatives are worth $500 trillion, the stock market is worth $100 trillion, and the commodities market is worth even more than that. I believe cryptocurrencies can take over every single one of these markets. All real estate could be verified and done through cryptocurrencies. All derivatives can be done on cryptocurrencies. Even entire companies could launch their own stock off cryptocurrencies or an entire stock market, and they really have the potential to do absolutely everything. Vitalik Buterin has said himself that cryptocurrencies have theoretically no limits. So, overall, that's what I think of cryptocurrencies, and a lot of people really like to say they have completely no use case. However, I believe this is completely false, and I hope today's video helped you understand why. Of course, if you enjoyed the video, remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching the content.